And you need focus to progress in anything. If you do not have focus, you're spread thin across multiple different things.
What was the very first pivot moment that made you decide, okay, personal branding is your path? People see, people hear 7 figures, 19.
Yeah.
That's unheard
Yeah.
of, right? But they don't see what led to that.
Yeah, I prefer speaking about mistakes because this is what makes you learn.
Because you are of age, society assumes they have to have it together. Our generations did. So
Okay.
many generations did before them.
Okay.
What do you mean we still have to lend them a helping hand? What do you mean we still have to look back and say, are you good? Do you need us to kind of lend you a little bit of a push?
Yeah.
Because we're older, because we've been through the battles. And that to me is unfair. Because age does not determine that you have it all together. 7 figures doesn't indicate you have it all together. Welcome to Pivot Mode, the podcast that unpacks pivot moments in life, you know, those turning points, and turn them into lessons that Gen Z can use to thrive. That is my purpose. That is my goal and my mission with the show. That's why I coined it the love letter, my love letter to Gen Z and the generations beyond. As you all know, I always choose a quote that is relevant to the topic of discussion for the day. And in doing some research for this specific show, I found the perfect, most attached, and most poignant quote that really resonated with the discussion that we're about to have. It stems around personal brand. When we see a Nike check, the Apple icon, we know exactly what those items or elements relate to. But how about our personal brand? What do we want to be known for? When we walk into a room, what do we stand for? What are our values, our morals, the standards that we have? And that's what this topic is about today. So here's the quote. Your personal brand is not about posting. It's about what the impact and what you leave behind after you no longer speak. I couldn't have a greater and most impactful guest today in sharing his mastery of personal branding and his experience with this element of life. Yes, he is known, and I personally coined him a guru in the real estate industry in Dubai, in helping real estate agents really narrow their personal brand. But today we're going to tweak it a little bit, where he is going to help us unpack what branding really is about on a personal level and how we can relate it to our everyday life, real estate agent or not. So without further ado, I am so pleased to introduce Khaled.
Thank you for having me. And I hope I live up to that introduction.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. I did my research and
You
I
did
was
indeed.
so impressed
Okay.
with you that it was such an honor
Thank you.
to bring you
Honor's
on.
mine. Pleasure is mine.
And the thing is, the reason why it's so relevant and so impactful that you're here speaking to Gen Z is because, can you please share with our viewers how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 19.
19 years old.
Yeah.
19 years old.
I mean, it only gets harder by the passage of time to tell people I'm 19. Like a year ago, it was easy. It was very believable that I was 18. Yeah, by the passage of time, it just gets harder for some reason. But yeah.
I could only imagine, right? And once you share your story, it's even more unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that is where I'm going to give you the floor. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, I am a personal branding specialist. I run a content agency or a personal branding agency that helps real estate agents build their personal brand. And I've been in the game for around 3 years, 2 years and a half. And yeah, it's been a cool journey. And yeah, that's the only introduction I can give.
Got it. Now, what exactly is personal branding?
Okay, so when it comes to personal branding,
Mhm.
it differs from industry to industry, and everyone has their own example, and everyone comes up with their own example. But bottom line, we can just find the terminology and its meaning. It's personal branding is divided into two. We have the person part and the branding part. The branding is simply the associations you make
Mhm.
across time. That's all, nothing else. And that means whatever you associate yourself with, you will be branded as that. So let's say a random example, a fitness influencer posts 10 videos about losing weight. Then he is consistently associated with losing weight. Then he will be known in the minds of people that watch him as a fitness influencer that specializes in losing weight. So it's only the associations you make across a period of time. Now, the more you make these associations, the more you are associated to that topic, the more you will be known for that topic or for that concept. And the personal part is the other part of personal branding, is where your personality comes in. Because everyone can get associated to a certain topic like fitness. Everyone. But what makes it a personal brand is the personal part, and that means that your personality comes in. So let's say, so bottom line, it's your characteristics and traits, along with the associations you make to certain concepts that build a personal brand. And characteristics and traits can be that you're funny, that you look good, can be that you have good oration, you explain things well, can be that you explain things simply. So the entire bundle of you as a person with all of the characteristics and traits plus all of the associations you have come together and build your personal brand.
And I think that's so brilliant and touches on the message that I want to relay today. Because, yes, usually when people hear the word branding, they associate it with a business,
Mm-hmm.
period. Nobody ever thinks, wait a minute, I am an entity. I am a business. I am a walking business. And in order for me to present myself, in at a job, at school, in my industry,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to relay my personal brand in order for people to remember who I am way after I'm done speaking. So how would you relay the work that you do to Gen Z and giving them the advice that they would need to brand themselves?
Okay, cool. So everyone has to understand that everyone has a personal brand, whether it's big or not. And before explaining how Gen Z can do it and how they can get the most out of it, I'll explain how the strength of a personal brand is measured. Everyone has a personal brand, and they might think, okay, I don't have social media and I'm not known, but how do I have a personal brand? What you are measuring here is reach. There is the first metric you measure a personal brand through is reach. How far or how big your reach is. If you have 1 million followers, you have way more reach relatively to the person that has 10 followers or the person that isn't on social media and is only known in person or in real life. Right? So that is the first metric. Second metric is towards or against. Are people to go to are people towards your personal brand or against your personal brand? And for this, an easy example can be political parties, as simple as it is. Some people are against a certain political party, but other people are towards this political party. And the third metric is the impact you have. And by impact, I mean influence. How much influence do you have over the people that, let's say, know your personal brand? So let's say a TikTok influencer that dances on the camera does not have any influence, but a spiritual guru that helps people unlock their inner self, he has he has relatively high influence over his followers compared to the random TikTok influencer that dances in front of the camera. So we measure the strength of a personal brand using these three metrics: your reach, towards or against. The third is influence. And so that being said, everyone has a personal brand. It just depends on how big your personal brand is, are people towards or against your personal brand, and how much influence you have over people in general. And when it comes to Gen Z, what happened is we live in a digital economy. Everything is being digitalized. The methods of making money and making living in general have been digitalized. And normal jobs do not exist in our minds anymore. Everyone is thinking of something. How do you make money online? Whether it's drop shipping, SMMA, all of these new ways. And one of the main ways that is currently, let's say, not trendy but is coming up is personal branding. Is that you build a personal brand that reinforces something you already sell. And this applies even if you're a doctor. If you have a personal brand as a doctor, you will get more credibility and trust. You will also get more clients and more people that will want to work with you. You will work at bigger and better positions. And this also applies if you're a business owner. If you're a business owner, you want trust and credibility. You want more lead flow and you want more clients. So it applies to everyone. And that being said, Gen Z now have access to higher leverage. And leverage is simply the units of output you get per unit of input. So let's say you work for 1 hour and you get one hour worth of work in return. But leverage and personal branding that is considered as leverage. You put in a certain amount of work in, or a certain amount of time, energy, and attention in, and you get disproportionate output where you get way more for what you put in. So Gen Z now has access to all of these amazing tools that help them build a personal brand and achieve more with whatever they want to achieve. So no matter what you do, where you are, whether you're a content creator, whether you want to start a business, start an agency, just like how I did, whether you want to stick to the normal pathway, which is no longer, I'd say, preferred by our generation, then you can still build a personal brand and get the most out of it. And it is as simple as creating content about the topic that you want to be related to. So, yep, you can just start from there.
And it has to be associated with social media. Period.
So yeah, I mean, there are different platforms you can build a personal brand across. Yeah, right. You can build it on short form content, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, or you can build it on long format content, right? Which is on YouTube. On YouTube, you get a different level of trust and credibility. On social media, you get a different level of reach. So every platform has its own, let's say, I wouldn't say advantages and disadvantages, but different purposes. So, yeah.
So even if they went to college, right? They went to college, graduated, have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You would still encourage somebody to start developing your personal brand.
We've seen this a lot where, currently, at least in Dubai, many people who work full-time jobs are building their own personal brand. And we've seen it in many companies, both big and small. And it's called employee-led branding. Employee-led branding or employee-led content creation, where if you have a full-time job, you can still excel through brand because you have certain roles and responsibilities in a certain company that having a personal brand would help you achieve. So let me give a quick example. Let's say there is a salesperson in a content creation company where they want to acquire more clients. Would having a personal brand help them acquire more clients or not? It will definitely do. Why? Because simply now they have more reach and they will start getting inbound lead flow. People will start talking to them instead of them going out and finding lead lists or doing ads, Ads is also considered inbound, but instead of doing outbound lead generation or like outbound cold calls, outbound cold outreach, right? So it will still aid them. Let me give another example. Let's say a doctor. If a doctor builds a personal brand, well, they will get more trust and credibility. They will get more lead flow. But more importantly is the trust and credibility. Why? Because doctors solve the very fundamental problem everyone faces, which is health. This is the value they provide. They alleviate a lot of pain out of it, right? Which is what makes them create a lot of value. So that being said, when someone wants to go to a doctor, they have to make sure they trust them. Because if they don't, they just won't, because it's the very fundamental problem everyone doesn't want to mess with. So therefore, having a personal brand would help the doctor build trust and credibility in advance, instead of having to, let's say, do a minor operations on the person, to then build trust and give them the positive reinforcement that yes, you can trust me. I did it right. I alleviated pain. I provided you value. No, they can just build a brand.
Got it. Now to go back to you and your amazing story.
Okay.
What was the very first pivot moment that made you decide, okay, personal branding is your path. This is what you want to do. What led you to that?
Good question. So I'll have to go back to when I was 16. So 3 years ago, what I did was basically model jumping. I didn't have enough focus on to stick with a specific model like personal branding. I tried every single thing under the sun. I tried ecom, I tried automations, I tried AI, I tried programming, I tried everything. And what I found to be the most impactful was personal branding. Therefore, I stuck to it. And what I mean by impactful is that, again, let's go back to the concept of leverage. Currently, we live in an era of infinite leverage, which is a quote that's said by Naval Ravikant, someone I look up to. And that means that there is AI, there is personal branding, there is multiple ways you can get an insane output with only limited input. People nowadays flip their entire business and life after they go viral one time. After one guy goes viral once, then خلاص. It's done.
خلاص.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah. So it's not only about virality, but you get the point. As soon as they build a personal brand, it's done. Their business is figured out. So, yep. I found that out of these methods of, let's say, building leverage, personal branding was the one that I was closest to and I was best at. Because there were other options, let's say, like AI, like anything related to machine or code learning. That was a world, and content creation was another world. I was consuming content 24/7, addicted to TikTok, as usual, right? But then I found that I was more skilled in it. I had a higher competitive advantage there. So I was like, okay, let me get into content creation. And then it evolved to different types of content creation till I found myself here with real estate agents. I started doing normal clipping, which is like just taking a clip from this podcast, let's say, and just posting it. To then I found clients that needed their podcast to be repurposed, right? So then I went there as well. I tried that as well. Then there was something that is called media scaling. So you know how these creators nowadays have multiple accounts? I did that as well. I made a few people blow up, generated more than 100 million views from that. And then I found myself here in real estate. And it was through like multiple people. I'm not sure if you know Walid. Walid got me here as well. Checked podcast.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I jumped on Checked podcast. And then I got a lot of lead flow from real estate agents. Then I stuck to real estate. And what backed this up was, in the beginning, I was meant to be a real estate agent. And I didn't share this yet. But my mom is a real estate agent, but in another city. Right? And it was like something I'm familiar with because it's my mom and I hear her on the phone 24/7. So I saw that I had a competitive advantage and I was familiarized with real estate agents in general. So then I specialized in it. And the logic behind it was find your competitive advantage and then find a model that aligns with your competitive advantage. So let's say your competitive advantage is that you're very social, you know how to speak well, you know how to convince people, you're good with people, then what model would be fit? What would be something related to sales? Let's say someone is great at math and has amazing logic and is good at programming, then AI would be his pathway, right? So I just found my competitive advantage and I just stuck to it.
Which was brilliant.
Yeah, and before sticking to it, I learned it the hard way. But I faced the problem, which if I avoided, I would have been like way further. But I mean, we shouldn't think that way, which is shiny object syndrome. And that is a disaster because with shiny object syndrome, you eliminate focus. You do not have focus anymore. And you need focus to progress in anything. If you do not have focus, you're spread thin across multiple different things. So I was spread thin. I was spread thin across multiple different models. Like I was doing sales. I was doing drop shipping. I still have the products in my house because I didn't sell them. I was doing this SMMA or like content creation or personal branding, whatever it's called. I was too spread thin and I wasn't focused. But then when everything hit the fan and nothing was working, and then I realized, oh, okay, I'm too spread thin. I have shiny object syndrome. I better get over it myself. And then I focused on one thing only. And what's quite funny is this is a lesson I have to relearn across every stage. So as soon as I hit the 7-figure mark, what happened was I got it back. And I got it back and it manifested in a different format where I was focusing on one specific product, which was short form content. And then I started working on another product, which was long form content. So now I'm selling two. And then I introduced a third, which is info products, which is like building courses for creators that are still in the real estate industry. And that is also shiny object syndrome because up until you make multiple 7 figures annually, you have to stick to one niche, one product, and one marketing channel. I found myself with one niche, 3 products, and one marketing channel, which eliminated my focus, again, plateaued my growth. So this is a lesson I learned the hard way, and then I spammed 20 videos watching, then I started watching videos about it again, and then I learned it the hard way again. So yeah, this is what pivoted me into here.
And I like that you shared that vulnerable moment, right?
Yeah.
Because here you are, an exceptional example for this generation, but you shared your downfalls.
I'm down. Let's share all my downfalls.
Absolutely, right?
Okay.
to show the vulnerability, because that's the thing. People hear 7 figures, 19.
Yeah.
That's unheard of, right? Which I commend you on. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
But they don't see what led to that.
Yeah, I'm down to share all of my mistakes.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I prefer speaking about mistakes because this is what makes you learn. You can learn. The learning, to improve, you need to have a learning curve. You need to acquire knowledge and then apply it. And there is an abundance of information online, right? With these platforms like YouTube, with online coaches, with courses, it made information abundant. And I absorbed information till I said enough. But learning is only true on the playground. Like you only learn it properly in person when you do the mistake or when you face it. And that is when I truly learned a lot of the lessons I learned today, right? So yeah, shiny object syndrome was one of them. Lack of focus was one of them. Not focusing on marketing was one of them. I was doing something, I was offering a service I wasn't applying to myself. It wasn't until I applied it to myself, then I got the results I was looking for. Many other lessons as well, but yeah.
No, and that's important for you to say. Now, looking back, what's one of the lessons you wish you had learned earlier that would have saved you time and mistakes? And then, more importantly, do you find people questioning your credibility because of your age?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I'm going to corner you a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Please do. Okay. One mistake. I learned there were multiple. I just did a video on 6 mistakes I learned the hard way. And the first one was was a lesson a lot of people told me to like learn the easy way, but then I learned it the hard way. Was trusting the wrong people, specifically speaking, trying to force friendship into business. Yes, I ate that. I ate it from
You did.
every single role you can think of in a company. And in a personal branding agency, there are multiple roles. There is editors, videographers, other content creators. There is operations managers. There is a VA that I'm currently working with. I've worked with friends till I said enough. And what happened was I learned that you cannot mix school friends in business. You cannot change people from like their current. You cannot change people unless they want to change. So that is the summary of the lesson. And what I was trying to do is that I was trying to convince all of my friends to do the exact same thing I'm doing. But then I ended up from like trying to convince 17 friends to like only one that I worked with. And now he's my brother. But trying to force friendship in business is an absolute disaster. And in the early days, it might seem easy and it might work because you're dealing with low level problems. But as soon as your business advances and like your reputation is actually at risk. Like if you mess up big time, then you're done. You're out of the market. Especially in a market like Dubai where everyone knows everyone. And this is a very small place where if you do something wrong, then bad word of mouth, which is the worst marketing method you might want to try, will hit you very bad. And then your business will start falling, or like you will see the negative effects. So this was the biggest lesson, I would say. There were many other lessons, which is mismanaging cash flow. That was one where you suddenly get cash flow that you're not used to getting, but then you spend it all the wrong way, and you do not understand that the business's money is not your money. It is the business's money. It is the entity's money. And you have to keep cash reserves. And you cannot waste all of your money and do not put it and go to Airbnb in Palm Jumeirah.
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Right?
You
Do not wing Cartier watches. Do not wing Montblanc bags.
No.
So that's ego got the best out of me.
Yeah.
But the most important, okay, now I got the answer. The most important lesson I learned is you are the only problem you have to solve. And if you solve it, acquiring everything becomes attainable. I am the problem everywhere. Personal problems are reflected into business. If I was, let's say, way more logical, disciplined, and thoughtful, I would have seen different results in my business. If I was more creative, I would have had a different picture in the market. If I was more, let's say, if I was a better leader, I would have had a better team. That you are the only problem you have to solve. If you solve yourself and if you develop yourself, then everything becomes easily attainable. And it is always that my personal state is always reflected into business. If I had a season that was rough and I was not focused, 1 month later I will see it in the business and it will be a mess. But at seasons where I am at my peak and I'm in flow, I see it reflect in the business a few weeks later where everything is going well, everything is flowing, we are growing. When I am plateauing, the business plateaus. So the biggest lesson I've learned so far is that I am the only problem I have to solve. And the wording problem and solving comes from business is all about problem solving. And it comes also from the term value. Value is created when pain is alleviated, and pain is alleviated when problems are solved. All you have to do is just solve enough problems in the market to print cash, right? So it comes from there that I am the only problem I have to solve. So yeah, that is the biggest one yet. And it came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I pulled it out.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because that's a good one. That's a good takeaway.
Yeah.
Because my goal for the podcast is always this: to take those moments
Yeah.
that my guests tugged at your heart
Yeah.
and take that with you.
Yeah.
So my moment of glory is when I do get a text of a quote that a listener sends back to me. I recently got
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
And I'm like, okay,
That's fire.
that was my mission. Because I know I shared this with you, and
Yeah.
you were in awe that I said
Yeah.
that I coined this podcast as my love letter
To
to
Gen Z.
Gen
Yeah,
Z
that's a
and
cool name, to be
beyond.
honest. That's a really cool name.
Yeah,
Or cool, like, mantra.
because that's the thing. Because you are of age, society assumes they have to have it together. Our generations
Right.
did. So
Okay.
many generations did before them.
Okay.
What do you mean we still have to lend them a helping hand? What do
Yeah.
you mean we still have to look back and say, are you good? Do you need us to kind of lend you a
Yeah.
little bit of a push?
Yeah.
Because we're older, because we've been through the battles. And that to me is unfair, because age does not determine that you have it all together. 7 figures doesn't indicate you have it all together.
That is
And
right.
you showed that. And I'm so
That is
happy.
right. No, that is 100%
And I'm
right.
so glad you were able to share that,
Yeah.
right? Because on the books, that's what it should be like. What do you mean? You're 19, you have a career, you developed your personal brand, making money, being known in such a rich industry, but then you were able to vulnerably share, yeah, no, there are moments where I needed to reflect and kind of reevaluate myself.
Yeah, I messed up a lot.
I love that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And to answer the second question, which is, how do I manage the trust that is associated to the age? Like, people might think, okay, 19, how do I trust them? Number one, people do not care about age. This is what I realized a few weeks ago, actually, that people do not care if I'm 19 or if I'm 50. If I prove competence and expertise, they would be interested. So
Period.
they would only care about my age 2 seconds before I open my mouth. But as soon as I open my mouth, then everything would follow. Because I was 18 and I had no clients, but now I'm 19 and I have a bunch. But it doesn't matter. It's both teenagers. At 18, I couldn't prove competence and I couldn't prove expertise, or I didn't display expertise at least. And now I'm displaying and proving expertise and competence, and it's not a problem at all. And I found it very interesting that people truly do not care whether someone... Me caring that I'm not... People do not care about age to the point where they would buy social media from a 50-year-old, and I saw it live. Like, I saw old people selling something that isn't relevant to them, and I saw way younger people that did the same, sold something or did things that are way irrelevant to them. Like, there are kids, like there are 15, 14 that have multi-million-dollar brands as well. And the thing is, what I'm trying to put together is, there are 50-year-olds that do not know what they're doing, and there is the 21-year-old who became a billionaire, which is the owner of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg. So yeah, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, I realized it very late. I thought people cared, but they don't. They just care the 2 seconds before I open my mouth. So yeah,
that's so good for that generation to hear as well, because a lot of them want to open their own businesses and want to branch out, but that, inability
people care
to...
only as long as you're good. If you're good, then nothing else matters. If you can display proof that you're good, nothing else matters. And something with Gen Z, that everyone cares way too much about their age. Like, they even care that people are 30. No, it doesn't matter. People's age doesn't matter. And now whenever I see a video that is done by someone in Gen Z, they always start with their age. Like, hi, I'm 19 and I'm building this, or hi, I'm 16 and I'm starting this journey. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
That's
You can start the journey if you're 16, if you're 26, right? So it's something that's quite interesting to see, because I genuinely thought people cared, and I always used to flex it, but then I stopped because it was annoying. Like, people do not care, right?
It's what you bring to the table.
Yeah, it's what you bring to the
Your
table.
personal brand.
That's all.
Perfect.
That's all.
I love that. Now, Gen Z is living in a world of constant comparison.
Mm.
And that's another big one. How do you personally deal with comparison culture while building your brand, right? Because you're in a you're in an industry that is
Competitive.
competitive,
Yeah.
that is well known, and that it is pretty saturated.
Yeah.
So, how do you stand your ground and confidently, comfortably, and release yourself from that comparison mode?
You escape competition through competence. So everyone says this industry is competitive. It's not. It's saturated. There is absolutely no competition. And the reason I'm saying that is because the logic is, in any growing economy, what happens is that there are constantly new gaps that open in the market that are seen as opportunities. So with enough gaps in the market, the market is moving at such a high pace that it's hard to catch up with all of these gaps. With the growth of, let's say, the number of real estate agents in the industry, what has to follow is the number of personal branding creators in the industry. But there is a time lag where people have to see it, that there is a gap, and then some people have to take action, and then these people have to build a portfolio and build an actual business. So there is a time gap, and that time gap caused also a gap in the market where it's not really that competitive, it's just crowded. There are many people but no one's really good. And I know this because I personally know most of the people that are in the personal branding like market themselves, and I find them all just like saturated. It's not competitive at all. And going back to the main point, which is, you escape competition. Let's say it was competitive. You escape competition through competence. People think about being unique 24/7, but I have no clue why you want to be unique, where success leaves cues. And you can just do whatever the person that was more competent did, and you can get the same success. And you can follow frameworks that have worked, frameworks that have proven to work consistently, and you would get the same result. And this is how you escape, again, competition or a crowded market. It's just you have to be competent. And competence is different than uniqueness. Uniqueness is, let's say, uniqueness is a different type of, if we frame videos as an example, uniqueness is a very unique video. Someone went to space and then they went to another city and then they jumped here, like something that is completely unique and something that is not seen. Yes, it might work, but that is an unwalked path and an unproved path. That also, with that, you get inefficiency because you do not have, or you cannot acquire any frameworks from the person that did it. But let's say if you walk a proved path of doing content that worked previously, then you have a proven formula that if you follow, you can get the same results. Now, how do you get even better results? You become more competent. And how do you become more competent? Let's break the variables of a video into simpler variables. You have, in a video, you have the strategy, you have the idea, you have the script, you have the edit, and that's all. If you have a better idea, and if you have a better script, and you have a better edit, then you will have a better video. Therefore, it will perform better. And by better, I mean more competent, more effective. So I think that is the pathway that I'm taking, where it is stupid simple. Just get more competent.
Why
That's it.
reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, why reinvent the wheel? Why make it more complicated?
Yeah.
That's it. Simple, easy.
And I think more young people need to hear that, because
yeah,
they're
everyone thinks I
so
want to be unique. I want to build something that the world has never seen
Yeah.
before. No, you do not have to build a $1 billion startup. Chill out. You can start with the easy stuff. You can start with whatever left cues, whatever has proven to work and is fit with your situation. And this applies whether you want to build a business or you want to build a personal brand or you want to pursue anything. If you want to become a footballer, this applies. Find whatever cues that are there, success cues, and follow them. Follow frameworks that worked. And no, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I
That's all.
appreciate you saying that, because
Yeah.
they need to hear it from you.
Yeah. Additionally, what happens is that with people that want to reinvent the wheel, it comes also from, there are two types of mental frames that people have. The first mental frame is that keep it stupid simple. Simplicity is key. I'll just do what works. And the second frame is that, or the second mindset is that I wanna be unique. I wanna do something that's never been done before. I never want to. I want to do something that is complicated and people cannot expect it, or things of that sort. And consistently, what has been reinforced for me at least is the first pathway. Whenever I try to do anything complicated, I find it always fails, or it doesn't work as well and as fast and as good as simple. So that is also a lesson that I've learned. And I've tried the complex pathway or the unique pathway, and it didn't work as well as the first one.
No.
It can work, but it will take way more resources, way more time, energy, and attention from you. But what you want is, you want to achieve the most in the shortest period of time. Instead of building let's say, I'll give a vague number, $1 million business in 1 year. If you can achieve that in 3 years, then amazing. Why not? You can do it, right? And that doesn't mean that going the simple pathway does not mean that you'll be a copy, just like everyone. No, you can just be more competent, and you will therefore escape competition. You will escape being a copy. You will escape looking like everyone else. So yeah,
And like
this
you
is something
said,
I'm even saying to ingrain in my own mind, because again, we all grew up with ADHD and scrolling TikTok endlessly, right? So I keep looking at other things that I can be unique at, or have the things that I have that the market doesn't have. But no, I always get the same reinforcement. Whenever I walk the complex pathway, the business goes to a mess. Whenever I walk the simple pathway, everything goes well.
they
And
need to hear
simplicity
that.
is key.
They
Right?
need to hear that.
Yeah.
They need to hear that. In Gen Z, and you mentioned this, you hit on this, and I'm so happy, as I said, I'm so grateful that you're sharing your vulnerability,
Yeah, it's okay.
because Gen Z is often multi-passionate.
Multi-passionate.
That's what we call you.
Okay.
That's what you are known
Okay.
for.
Okay.
Right? Interested in about 5 different things at once. And you
Yeah.
mentioned that earlier. How can someone balance their different interests without confusing their brand identity? That's how you opened our conversation.
That doesn't make sense. Managing multiple interests. Okay, we are talking to people who want to grow in a certain industry. Let's say you want to grow your personal brand. Growing a personal brand means that you also have to grow the financial aspect of it as well. You want to monetize it. You don't just grow a personal brand out of the blue. Hey, I want to build a personal brand. No, there is a reason behind it. You want to build a business out of it. And let's talk to beginners here, because usually Gen Zs are beginners in the earlier phase of their life. The thing is, when starting a business, you want to have one niche, you want to have one product, and you want to have one marketing channel. It all says 1 up until $1 million a year. So if you don't make $1 million a year, then just follow one niche, one product, one marketing channel. And that means that you will only have one interest, one thing that you'll focus on. Because if you focus on multiple things, they will not grow as fast. It's like, let me give a biological example that I got from Alex Hermosi. If there is the sun and you have a paper and you want to burn through the paper, but if you have a glass that is spread across the entire paper, it will only heat it up. But if you want to burn through it, the glass has to be concentrated on one very specific piece, then it will burn through it. So this applies in business as well. If you're focused on multiple things, it will just not work. And if someone comes up and says, okay, Elon Musk or whoever entrepreneur they look up to does multiple things at once, you do not have the resources they have. They have different resources that they can allocate to building multiple businesses or looking at different ventures. But you are just starting out. You barely have any wisdom and business acumen, and you have zero cash flow, and you do not have any human resources. You only have your time, energy, and attention. So you have to learn focus on one thing so it can work. Deviating from one path makes both ineffective. And like there is that one quote that I started remembering always. If you try to catch two rabbits, you will catch none. You just stick to one. So balancing multiple passions doesn't make sense in business. If you want to play multiple sports like just for fun, okay, it makes sense. Like you're just doing it for fun. But if you're trying to get shredded in the gym, then you can just focus in the gym. You cannot manage boxing and the gym at the same time. Same thing in business. If you want to build a business, you cannot manage being a let's say an AI expert that builds automations plus a personal branding expert. You have to stick to one. And even within that, let's say someone picks the AI pathway, which what everyone seems to pick up nowadays. In the normal business model is that everyone builds automations in other people's businesses. Even when someone picks one thing, same thing happened to me. They get shiny object syndrome and they have suddenly different passions and they focus on different things. And they build different products within the same business or like offer different services within the same business. And then the business starts to fall again. Why? Because you're spread too thin and you're not focused. So focus. That's all.
Got it.
And focus is the process of eliminating every other alternative. No, that is a commitment. Yeah, that is commitment. You have to be focused and committed. And being committed means that you have only one thing. And you also have to learn prioritization. And what we've seen is that with our generation, like we turned the term from priority to priorities, which breaks the point of the term itself. Priority means one thing. Let me focus on one thing only that matters. Priorities means that you have a list of things that matter. But that defies the term. Because priority means one thing only. Making it plural breaks the point of the term. So
I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So you must have one priority. You should be committed to one thing. You should be focused on one business. You shouldn't be spread too thin. That is a lesson we all have to learn after watching all of these endless TikTok videos that built ADHD into our brain.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. And and it's good to hear you say that.
Okay.
Because if my generation says this, we're nagging.
I mean, you
We
all
are
do.
we are mommies that just cannot leave them alone.
Yeah.
That cannot, we don't understand. We can't relate.
We're way too distracted.
Right?
We are indeed way too distracted. We are cooked. We're way too distracted.
See, it's
Okay.
good that your generation is starting to get a grip on that and understanding that it can leave an impact if you do not make the decision to say, wait a minute, I have to acknowledge this,
Yeah.
right? So fast forward 10 years as we start wrapping up, right? Fast forward 10 years. What's the impact you want to leave on this, in this world
I mean,
that you would be known for, and that, listen,
listen, I
that
have
is
two
your
answers.
personal brand.
My first answer is
Mhm.
I have such a short attention span. I cannot think 10 years in advance. Okay. Second is
Mhm.
impact.
Mhm.
I want to build the greatest personal branding educational company in the real estate industry. So that is what I want to do. That is as far as I can see. But yeah, let's see if it happens. Let's talk again in 10 years.
I'll be here. You're
Yeah.
stuck with me, so
Yeah,
I say that all
100%
the
done.
time.
Let's do
So
it.
I will
Perfect.
check in
Okay.
and send people your way, because it'll be so much easier for you to have an impact on your age group
Yeah.
than my love letter,
Yeah.
right? I could tug at the heart every once in a while, which
Okay.
is my goal. But to have you bless
Thank you.
my podcast today
you.
has been so amazing,
Thank you.
because you could relate to your generation so much more than I could ever. And that is the goal, to open the platform, to open spaces like this, safe spaces like this, for young people to come and let's hash it out. Let's chat, let's talk, let's share your imperfections, your perfections, your wealth. How did you make this happen? How can others follow your path? By, choose, just like you said, by choosing the simple ways as opposed to the complicated ways. But to hear it from you makes a totally different impact, right? So I cannot thank you enough.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in closing, I always do something where I throw literally a wrench at you, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw words, fire words, and you have to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay, sure.
So ADHD or not, you're going to show yourself that you can focus and you're the first word that comes out.
Definitely.
Right?
Perfect.
You could do it. You could do it. Right?
Okay.
Pivot.
Pathway.
Self-reliance.
Discipline. Right?
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. Legacy.
Yeah, winning.
Good.
That's the goal. Winning.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Financial security.
Necessary.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Personal brand.
Yeah, necessary. It's a must. No, leverage.
Leverage.
Leverage, yeah.
I like that. Can you elaborate a little bit?
We live in an age of infinite leverage. You can get the highest unit of output out of a minimum unit of input, and personal branding does that. You can just work for a bit and you'll have a personal brand.
Say no more.
Say no more.
Say no more.
Exactly. Perfect.
It has been an honor.
Thank you.
You are not a stranger to this podcast, so please do not hesitate to come back. Well, I'm going to pull you back.
Okay, perfect.
You have no choice. That's the New York in me, and Khaled will tell you, the New York comes out every once in a while.
Okay.
And that's it. Like I'll call you and be like,
yeah, definitely. A few years.
We need to do this.
A few years ahead, I'll have a few more lessons to share.
Perfect.
So why not?
Why not do it?
Let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As always, I am blessed enough to find the most brilliant minds share our stage, share this beautiful studio, share this intimate moment with me. And I hope you were able to gain as much from this wonderful interview as I did. Take what is worthy from the interviews that I have and the presenters that I bring and the minds that I share with you. Make your takeaways part of your daily lives, because that is the goal. When I say this is my love letter to you, that's exactly what it is. Because I love this generation so much and feel that it is my responsibility and the responsibility of my generation to make sure you're okay, I mean that. So without any more of your time, thank you so much for watching. And we are going to close out because I memorized this time. Make sure you follow, you comment, and you subscribe to my channel.
Yes, sir.
On YouTube. I got it. Like, subscribe, and comment. What? I just said it in a different order. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing. Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.